Hi, and welcome to Art Zone. I'm Nancy Guppy, coming to you this week from the fabulous Seward Park Clay Studio. Located in a charming brick building near Lake Washington, Seward Park Clay Studio has been championing the ceramic arts since 1970. With a roster of highly acclaimed teachers and resident artists, the studio offers classes in wheel throwing and hand building to adults and children working at every level, beginner to advanced. Add in special workshops, lecture series, collaborative shows with local galleries, and their annual holiday show and sale going on now, which features beautiful ceramic pieces by over 100 artists, and you've got a dynamic art hub where everyone is welcome. Check out Seward Park Clay Studio's holiday show and sale, open daily except for Christmas Day, now through Saturday, December 28th from noon to 6. More information is at sewardparkart.org. All right, since this is our last show of the year, we're going to take a look back at a few of our favorite stories from the past season. Basil Fibonacci, Margaret Savas, Michael Stasinos, and Metro number 7. So relax, put your feet up, and enjoy these highlights from Art Zone 2024.
I'm Basil Fibonacci. I'm a painter who lives in Seattle. I live right by these train tracks in the Bemis building, which is a 100-year-old building that's filled with mostly artists. Basil Fibonacci is a pseudonym. Basso is an old Zen Buddhist from early Zen days in China, and Fibonacci was a mathematician from Italy. Zen is a very illogical philosophy, and Fibonacci is a mathematician, and math is a very logical thing, so those two parts of me are pretty prevalent in my life, I think. Mostly I doodle when I was younger, but then I got into graffiti when I was around 18 and lived with an artist who kind of showed me what art could be. A lot of my early paintings were based around nature. I'd paint like a lot of animal life. Me and this artist, John the Guy, painted a wolf that's running south with the city burning behind it. And it's on Soto track, so it's like the busway where the buses run and the light rail runs. The wolf is the artistic community. Artists are moving south because it's too expensive. I grew up on Tiger Mountain. It's a small community outside of Issaquah. It's very woodsy. There's trees, ferns, animals. Kind of an isolated childhood in some ways. My brother was like living on the streets of downtown Seattle in the 80s. He was addicted to drugs from a very young age and just lived a life of being an addict. And so I grew up knowing that that was a thing and knowing that that could completely destroy someone's life. And eventually he was down in Mexico. I think he was a coyote running drugs and Mexicans across the border. The autopsy said that he was in jail and he went into an alley and overdosed. I remember when my dad got the call that he had died, I remember him just like answering the phone and then, bursting into tears and running up to his room and crying. And my dad did not cry. That was the first time I think I ever heard my dad cry. And so I was like freaking out, called my mom. I'm like, she said it must be Eric because that's the only thing that she could think that would make him react like that. What happened, I was like drinking and writing graffiti and fell off a bridge and broke my back, lost my arm. I think I was creative before, but I wasn't really focused on art. I skateboarded, so I spent a lot of time skateboarding. I think not being able to skateboard and like live my life like that, I kind of like found a new outlet for my creativity and got more focused on painting and creating, being expressive. Part of like the stuff I'm doing right now is based around the fentanyl crisis and downtown culture. It's something I see a lot. Like I spend a lot of time downtown, and it's something that just has kind of taken over the city. And I mean, part of the reason I know what withdrawals are like is I was on morphine for 10 years after my accident, and trying to come off the morphine was extremely hard. And so I kind of have like a small inkling of what withdrawals are like. I know they're a lot worse when you're on heroin or if you're on fentanyl than what I had, but it's even with like the small amounts of morphine I was coming off of was really like a struggle. So these are the foils that people have smoked fentanyl off of. You can see the little lines that the blue pills make as they slide across the foil when they're smoking them. Each of these will eventually have a pinning on them. I'm painting skulls on the foils because people are dying from the fentanyl. And I'm trying to quantify it. Like people hear numbers, they hear 200 people died downtown this year about, and that doesn't really tell you anything, it's just a number that you hear. When you actually see 200 skulls, you can start to like understand how many people that is to die in like, basically like one neighborhood. I don't really have a point I'm trying to make because I don't know the answer. I'm making art just based on what I see and what I think is interesting. I hope this creates some kind of conversation. There has to be like compassion. You have to like look at these people's point of views and like understand that these people are suffering. They might not have had a nice upbringing, you have to have compassion for people that are living on the streets for sure. It's like a rough life, especially going into the winter times. This is like a moment in time, and I'm trying to kind of solidify moments in time with my art. And I'm just trying to like talk about something in a visual way and hopefully have people have some empathy for these people that live on the streets. People just like want them to go away. People just want them to, a lot of people just want them to die. They want them to be in jail. They don't want them to exist. For the most part, I'd rather hang out with people on the streets. I'd rather have an interesting conversation with them than like drink a beer in a beer hall and play ping pong.
I'm Margaret Savis, and I am a chocolatier. I grew up with my dad telling me stories about working in the candy and ice cream store in Chicago. My grandfather and his brother came over from Greece, and the uncle started the candy store in Chicago. And my dad grew up working there. His siblings all grew up working there. Back in the days when Chicago had a candy and ice cream store every other corner. And many immigrant families found their way into confections in order to make a living in a new place. And at the time of hearing all these stories as a kid growing up, I did not necessarily have an impulse, oh, that's what I'm going to do. But I'm delighted that the universe took me down this path. After college, not sure what I was going to do with my very useful theater degree. And I got a day job working at the original Fran's chocolate store in the Madison Valley. And Fran herself took me through how to taste chocolate, how to talk about chocolate, and I learned from the best. And at the time, I did not think I would ever do it on my own, but looking back, that's how I'm able to do all the parts myself. If you're not careful in your sourcing of chocolate, there may be issues with farmers who aren't treated well. They're not getting paid well. There have been issues with child labor as well. So knowing the person who connects with these farmers means a lot to me. The chocolate that I use right now is Conexion chocolate from Ecuador. And I was fortunate enough to travel to Ecuador last summer, and I met the woman who owns the company. It's a very sustainable business that she has built, connecting with a lot of different family farms. And the chocolate is amazing in flavor. It has to taste good. I love caramel, and I found a recipe after much tinkering that I love. You start with sugar, caramelize it. I do it slowly, bit by bit. I use a dry caramelization method. It's easier to see exactly when the caramel is at the color that I want, which means it's at the flavor that I want. The cream is added to the caramel, bubbles up, comes to a certain temperature, is poured out, and then the next day is available to be dipped in chocolate. I make 4 varieties of caramels: lemon rosemary, vanilla, espresso, and a Honeycrisp apple cider. And then I have a selection of truffles that are a creamy, smooth center. I make a bittersweet chocolate, milk chocolate, a dolce, which is a caramelized white chocolate, and then a caramel latte. People ask me, what's your favorite? But they're all my favorite because I only make what I want. What do I want to make? What would my favorite candy bar, what would my ultimate candy bar be? My dream bar, my first bar, Meg's Mocha, a layer of caramel, but espresso caramel, and a layer of nougat once I figured out what that actually was and learned how to make it. Bittersweet chocolate on the outside, and everything's better with salt. So a little bit of espresso salt on top. Everything in moderation, but dark chocolate, there have been studies that it does good things for you. I believe them all, but I also believe that allowing yourself a treat is good for your soul. I found boxing when my sister was going through a very, very rough time, and it was recommended to her to help get through this rough time. And like a dutiful little sister who couldn't do anything else to help, I came with, and it did help. And I saw it help other people. And it was kind of life-changing, and I never left. The community of Guppys it's hard to describe, but that's why most of us are there. And when there was an opportunity to train as a coach, it just seemed very natural to do. We welcome everybody into that space. Everyone's a boxer when they walk through the door. And I have boxing clients who range from 75-year-old Peggy, who just started and was just interested. She just walked through the door one day, to people in their 20s, everything in between. Keep your balance when you miss. And with every goal in between, from becoming more confident to down the line training to spar and to compete. The connection that I see between the two very different things that I do, chocolates and boxing, believe it or not, is joy. The joy that I see in boxers when they complete that combination for the first time. There it is. When they master the speed bag, when they just do something really hard and they do it. There's nothing quite like that. It's a smaller, delightful joy to taste something that just leaves you speechless. And to be able to taste something that maybe brings back a memory from your childhood, except it's the best version of that you've ever had. That's joy. This is a very tiny business, and I want it to be just a part of what I do. That's how I can have this balanced, miraculously balanced life. I make as much as I can make. I make as much as I have time to make, and when it's gone, it's gone. I love that people buy it, and I'll make as much as I can.
There really is no place in Seattle that isn't worth painting. There's always something in the landscape that's giving a narrative to the location. Not just the buildings, but the garbage, the graffiti, the way the space is used gives it a wonderful narrative. It's a bit like doing a portrait. You paint Seattle, And you can make it about what the lighting is at sunset, but if you really pay attention, it's a living organism. It's constantly changing. That idea of documenting, in a way, is not documenting, it's meditating on the place. When I go to a location, I don't know why I chose it. Something catches my eye. I want to discover what it's saying. And painting it is what helps me know why. I like telling stories. My actual degree is in theater. I didn't think of it as becoming an artist at all in my life. But when I went to college and I thought, I'm going to take an art class, and I took the drawing class and I flunked. And he was like, well, if you come back to class and make it up, I will change your grade. And I did. The result of that is they offered me a scholarship. Something happened in graduate school that I didn't realize at the time was a moment for me. I was doing a portrait of a model, and then the model had to leave. What I ended up doing is painting the model out of the painting and just painting the room that the model was in. And so people knew more about that person with them not being in the painting because they paid attention to all the extra stuff, all of the details of the room. And when I started painting landscapes, made a connection. It became not about the atmosphere of capturing the light of this moment, but what is the personality of this moment? My painting process is really quite layered, at least I'd say 3 layers of color as I go towards detail, and general to specific. As I do the second layer, it's going to look more realistic. I'm trying to put layers so that when someone looks at it, if that person that's at the gallery and sees it, and they're a construction mogul creating the buildings downtown, they go, oh, look at, he's captured the things that I've been creating. But I also want the person that was on that street and eating a bag of Doritos to go, hey, those are the Doritos I threw in the gutter. I want the person that did the graffiti to go, oh yeah, that's me. I'm in there as well. I'm hoping that the end result of that layering really is inclusive.
One of the most exciting aspects of having a realist painter who works at the level of Michael Stasnos is the excitement that people feel when they see his work.
I think it's awesome. It just looks so real. Like, I don't know, like the scenery jumped out into the canvas and he's just putting the finishing touches on it. It just looks magnificent. Like, wow.
You can be 50 feet away from this and it hails you from that far away. And as they get closer to the painting, they realize how minute the details are in this, and they will stand in front of this painting for 10 or 15 minutes just to see the level of work, which is absolutely incredible.
I think that art is my drug. I go through withdrawals and I get kind of antsy and upset if I am not doing it. It is a way that I'm able to connect to the world that I don't think I can connect in any other way. It's so meaningful for me. I think that's what painting does for me. It's a way of connecting.
I grew up in Rainier Beach, and I rode the number 7 bus my whole life. I like to say I learned about life riding the number 7. It's such a long route, and it traverses so many diverse neighborhoods. It's a little sampling of the world if you ride the number 7. Rainier Valley has changed a lot, so I'd like to preserve a little bit of that history. The Columbia Hillman Arts and Culture District, they started putting the word out that they had these small grants. So I decided to apply for one of the grants, and that's how it came about. I've always made art, and I started doing it professionally about 10 years ago when I found printmaking. I love that the printmaking process is so involved and it's so meticulous. Printmaking is really deep. There's so many different methods of printmaking. There's dozens of different processes and you can combine them. So I feel like I found my home there.
The colors work.
About 20 years ago, I told my husband, I need to write a short story called Riding the Number 7. I never wrote that short story, but I did a series of collagraphs, which is a kind of printmaking of the number 7. I started that about 5 or 6 years ago. And this is the way I've expressed my story of riding the number 7. I set an intention in 2021 to work bigger, but I wasn't thinking I'd work this big so fast. To be really honest, I learned that I still, at my age, like to bite off a little more than I probably should. Another artist said, you should put people on the bus. And then I started thinking about it. I thought that would be cool to put people on the bus. Shea Cherie, I knew that her portraits really captured people in a unique way.
Every time I pick up the brush after the first few minutes, something else takes over. I stop thinking and get into that zone. And it does feel like that when you're a passenger on a bus, you just get into your own headspace. My part in this mural was to paint the portraits. The amazing thing was to learn about all these people.
My dad is the last person on the bus, and my aunt is the first person on the bus. The driver is Leah, and she drove the number 7 for years. The family standing in front of the bus are Susie, Lou, and Mondo Banquero. They've lived and worked in this community for several generations. And Susie is really special to me because she was my 2nd grade teacher, and we did a lot of art in 2nd grade. And then everyone else, I would call them heroes on the bus, because they're all people who were so involved in making our community a better place. So many of the people here really kind of moved the ball forward in our community. Each of them has done a lot.
So funny that I just finished painting this and now I'm cutting it. It's a little nerve-wracking.
But if we get through it, the theory is that it should come apart without any problems. So we'll see how it goes.
He knows what he's doing. If it was just me, I'd be terrified.
Here it goes.
There we go.
Sweet.
Way to go!
We got plenty of room.
Part of the arts revitalization project was to bring some life to spaces that needed some life. And the bus goes right by here. So everyone riding the bus south will see it. And all the pedestrian traffic here will see it. You're so welcome. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
We just found out, and so we were luckily in Seattle.
Hi, are you related to? She's your mom. Oh my gosh.
She wanted to see her mom's painting.
I'm so glad you're here.
Captures her perfectly.
Yep, there she is.
There she is. I'm touched. It's just nice to be recognized. I'm 60, so thank you.
It's just been really exciting to see what she's done with this. I just really love the mural.
I think it's so perfect because he rode the bus a lot. He didn't drive.
Without these types of things, statues, murals, things that help us know who we are as a community, it would be a very boring place. Every other place would look the same.
I don't know if he ever rode the bus, but it's representative that he spent 95 years in Rainier Valley, so it makes sense.
I hope they say, oh, it's the number 7. And then they look at the people and they think, who is that? And then they learn more about their community's history. I don't know where it's leading next. It's a journey, you know. We're all on some kind of bus. I'm on mine.
And that's a wrap. Big thanks to Seward Park Clay Studio for hosting us, and a reminder that their holiday show and sale runs now through December 28th. And thanks to you for tuning in all year long. Have a wonderful holiday season, and we look forward to sharing lots more great art with you in 2025. And now, it's time to shop. Dig that glaze. It's like pinky and peach, like a little vase or it's a cup, I don't know. I want to look at this right here. Darling little for matches. Perfect, I'm gonna take it. I need that. It's a bathroom. Now over here, come here, I want you to see this. This is amazing, this gorgeous glaze. The glazes here are so amazing. This gorgeous bowl, I love that. And look at this one right here. It's kind of a mottled green and blue together. Beautiful. It's perfect for my walnuts in the morning. Oh, and look at these. So these adorable little houses, like for teeny birds, made up birds. And my sister would go nuts for these, but she's not gonna get them. They're for me. She's gonna get a gift card or some socks or something like that. I want 2 of these. I'm like, oh, come here, over here. Look at this. So look at this mug. It's just adorable, and just like the little touch of orange and the little, oh, it's like the little divots in it. Oh, look, like a little touch of orange right there. Perfect. Morning coffee, tea, whiskey, who knows? Put that back in here. Oh, and so this is insane. This is, look at this. Josephine is the artist here, and these are, the glaze is super light. There's the seam is right there, the little flower right there. Isn't that beautiful? Oh my gosh. I think this would be a little delicate for my toothbrush in the bathroom, but I'm gonna give it a try. Put that in there very carefully over here. Okay, oh wow.